Is losing weight getting harder as you get older? It's not your fault. You're eating better, you're moving more, but your body isn't responding anymore. At PhD Weight Loss, they help people identify what's actually blocking fat loss and help increase your lifespan. If you want to understand why your body isn't cooperating, call PhD Weight Loss now and book your consultation at 864-644-1900. Mention Dennis Prager and you get 2 weeks free in the program, and they'll pay for your food. That's a $1,500 value absolutely free. Call 864-644-1900.
Welcome to Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager. Hear thousands of hours of Dennis's lectures, courses, and classic radio programs. And to purchase Dennis Prager's Rational Bibles, go to DennisPrager.com. On today's episode of Timeless Wisdom.
You know that old joke about the 3 stages of human life? Youth, middle age, and you're looking great. And by the way, ever since I heard that joke, isn't it a great one? I mean, even the young whippersnappers are laughing. And it is such a good line that I try to consciously not say to a person beyond middle age, you're looking great. But then I think, well, wait a minute, they don't know the joke, so I can.
That's coming up on Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager. And it starts right now.
I'm old-fashioned. I like 2 sexes. Yeah, and another thing, all of a sudden I don't like being married to what is known as a new woman. I want a wife, not a competitor. Competitor.
Talk about a bit, this crying in the morning thing, this depression, let's get that fixed.
That's what men think, isn't it?
What?
Unless you've got the answer, unless you can say, oh, I know this bloke in the Essex Road who could fix that, then there's no point bothering.
How do you rate women so well?
I think of a man, and I take away reason and accountability.
I love him, and I don't care what you think. I love him for the man he wants to be, and I love him for the man that he almost is.
What do people have rows about today?
Money, sex, money. He wants, she doesn't want.
She wants, he doesn't want?
Women have always been a big problem to me, Dr. Fussband. Are you listening, Doctor?
Yes. Go on.
I live for that. I live for that, Doctor. Hello, everybody. This is Dennis Prager, the male-female hour. An hour each week devoted to issues of men and women and between men and women. It is very adult. It is very real. And hopefully, indeed, very helpful. And you can't be helpful if you're not real. So the two go together. Hi, welcome. And the subject today is, again, a difficult one. I will be my usual transparent here. Of all 15 hours of my show each week, by and large, the male-female hour is the hardest hour in terms of sheer effort because the subject matter is so sensitive to at least half the audience that I have to choose every word very carefully. I admit it. I mean, try to choose my words carefully every hour of my program. I take this as a gift, this microphone, but especially this hour. And here is one more example of where I should get overtime pay, not because it's more than the usual time, but because of the care with which I will deliberately choose each word. I'm laughing because of this introduction I'm giving the topic. And the topic is the women changing their natural look for their husband, or indeed to have a better social life if they're single. And it goes from, I mean, the most obvious is makeup. Makeup changes your natural look. And there are women who don't wear makeup. It is, I will admit that when I meet them and they're married, if they're not married, I have nothing to say. But if they are married, I will admit I feel some sympathy for the husband. Unless he is of the same mind, in which case, God bless them both, and may they live many, many years together in happiness. And I mean it from the bottom of my heart. But for most men, it's probably not appreciated. It's very hard to say anything to one's wife about her looks. Most men, I think, would rather enter a combat zone than say anything to their wife about their looks, her looks. It's a very, very difficult area because of the issue of looks and women and how important it is. Unfairly, I admit, but it is. The issue is not whether it is fair. The issue is whether it is true. And that is the way God made the human universe. And you have, if you have an issue with it, it's not with me, the power of looks in women. The issue is with God. Or if you don't believe in God, with nature and or evolution. But in any event, your issue is not with me. I am the deliverer of facts here, in this case, not the creator of them. Now, so makeup is the most obvious example of where a woman is changing her natural looks. And the number of areas in which this is done routinely and then semi-routinely is very large. Another example, of course, is the vast number of women who will keep their original hair color as they get older. You see, what is the ratio of seeing gray-haired men or white-haired men to white-haired or gray-haired or silver-haired women? The ratio must be, 50 to 1. And is it unfair? I mean, should men, in the name of equality, should men dye their hair too, or women not? The issue is not equality. The issue is what works. In fact, men who do treat their hair with coloring are often regarded with a little contempt. To be perfectly honest, the guy just he won't grow old gracefully or whatever it is, or he's trying to act like he's still 38. But nobody says that about a woman. They say more power to her. She looks terrific. Anyway, you know that old joke about the 3 stages of human life: youth, middle age, and you're looking great. And by the way, ever since I heard that joke, isn't it a great one? I mean, even the young whippersnappers are laughing. And it is such a good line that I try to consciously not say to a person beyond middle age, you're looking great. But then I think, well, wait a minute, they don't know the joke, so I can. And by the way, to be honest, women are looking great at older and older ages, and that's terrific. It's a blessing for her. It's a blessing for her husband, and I'm a big proponent of it. I mean, why not? I remember when I went to the Soviet Union, where in communist countries, women and men, but especially women, aged far more readily. I mean, a 40-year-old woman in the Soviet Union looked like a 70 or 60-year-old woman in the United States or France. And so, that was a natural look there. But in more affluent societies in the West now, and not just the West, women are looking better and better. Getting older and older. I think that's magnificent. People are living older. Why not? So anyway, the subject again is women not looking as they are naturally. So makeup is the most obvious example. Dyeing hair. Now, most people have no problem with makeup or dyeing of the hair. And talking about women here. I think most people do have problems with men and makeup and men dyeing their hair. And I am among them. I would have some problem with that too. But what about a facelift? In other words, what about when you're getting into, and here's where feminists do not generally rail against dyeing of the hair, I don't think, or against makeup. But once you go beyond that to surgery, for example, then you have a very large body of feminist literature. Look at the risks women will take just for their looks, and so women will have a facelift, for example. or any form of cosmetic surgery or a nose job, as they do they still call it nose jobs? Is that the term still used? I don't know. That's the way it was used. I guess now reconstruction. What is it? Nasal reconstruction? Oh, give me a break. I never heard anybody getting nasal reconstruction unless they have a deviated septum. Young whippersnappers, what do you guys know? Anyway, that's so that's an area I will discuss with you. And then, of course, breast implants, which have become, to use the Latin de rigueur, almost expected now. And I have a number of thoughts on both of these. Let's begin with, and the other one, which is also not looking your natural self, is putting on something sexy in the bedroom with your husband. And I have heard over the course of time from women, because both sexes happily do open up to me, as you well should. I'm pretty open and happily take your openness. But I have heard, and some young women, some different age women will say, you know what? If he loves me, he will love me for my heart and my mind. Not for my plastic surgery, not for my cosmetic surgery, not for my breast implant, not for wearing sexy clothing. If God made the woman's body enticing on its own. Why wear a negligee or whatever it's called to bed, or in the bedroom? I will deal with all of these and take your calls when we come back. 1-8-PRAGER-776. All of these tend to be much less frightening when dispassionately discussed.
This episode of Timeless Wisdom will continue right after this.
Is losing weight getting harder as you get older? It's not your fault. You're eating better, you're moving more, but your body isn't responding anymore. At PhD Weight Loss, they help people identify what's actually blocking fat loss and help increase your lifespan. If you want to understand why your body isn't cooperating, call PhD Weight Loss now and book your consultation at 864-644-1900. Mention Dennis Prager and you get 2 weeks free in the program, and they'll pay for your food. That's a $1,500 value absolutely free. Call 864-644-1900.
Now, back to more of Dennis Prager's Timeless Wisdom.
Okay, everybody, you're listening to the Dennis Prager Show. And the subject is it is, of course, the male-female hour. Every, second hour Wednesday is devoted to very real discussions about men and women. And I'm discussing one that for many women is a non-issue. Absolutely. But for a fair number of women is an issue, and that is, it's one thing to acknowledge the importance of looking attractive to your husband, but please, okay, makeup I can live with, even dyeing my hair, but what about going under the knife, which is what cosmetic surgery is about? A facelift, something on the nose, breast implants, etc. Why can't he love me for who I am? Why do I have to do this? And it is, I understand the question, and but the reality is that it matters. We are not disembodied creatures. In the afterlife, we will be perhaps only souls, but on earth, we're physical beings, and the physical matters. I wish it didn't. I wish it didn't. I remember, I'd be very open with you as I am regularly. I have very rarely, and it's probably true for most men. Most men don't cry very often, and I remember one of the only times, I think, post the age of 12 that I cried was when, and I've never told this actually, maybe even new to you, Alan. I was about 20, or my early 20s, and there was a woman that I loved deeply. Well, let's put it this way. I thought was a total kindred spirit, which is hard to find in life. But I just wasn't attracted to her. And I remember crying for her and for me that something so, not in front of her, I didn't, but privately, but that something so quote-unquote trivial could prevent two people from bonding. But what are you going to do? Life is doing what we can with reality, not denying reality. So the woman who says he should love me just for my heart and mind is denying reality. Just as it would be to deny reality to say that the heart and mind don't matter, that only looks matter. A man who marries only for looks is doomed for misery, utter misery. He's an idiot. Just to put it bluntly. I mean, there are women who marry just for money. They probably have a better chance, I would think, at some happiness than a man who married only for looks. That's how, and I certainly don't advocate marrying only for money. All right, I'll have more to say about the facelifts and so on, but I want to take your calls. Let's go to Denver, Colorado, and Cindy. Hi, Cindy. Dennis Prager.
Hi, Dennis. Thanks for taking my call.
I'm glad you called.
I wanted to say that my issue as a woman with plastic surgery is actually kind of the same issue that I have with pornography, in that it sort of alters the perception of what is real. And so when you start talking about having women, as they age, altering their bodies so that when you're 40 or 50, you're looking like you're 25 or 30, then it sort of becomes this new standard of what beauty is, versus accepting what is beautiful for a 40-year-old or a 50-year-old. You're trying to say that here's this box of what's beautiful.
Why are you okay? If you're okay with makeup, why are you okay, since that alters a woman's looks?
Well, I think because it is so invasive, and because it
Wait. Hold on. Your objection, and you know me, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm going to clarify if we differ. So your objection is not altering looks. It's using a knife to alter looks. It's
sort of almost in a way mutilating a woman, and I know it's such a feminist word to use, but it's mutilating a woman's body to say that you have to completely change what is naturally, physically who you are, versus I think the idea with makeup is sort of enhancing what you are naturally. Plastic surgery is completely altering what you are naturally.
Well, I think that makeup changes your look, or can change your look at least as dramatically. I mean, have you ever seen? I at the supermarket, I notice these people and us and there's others. They will have pictures, I guess, to make women feel better, which I totally understand, of some of the most glamorous stars in Hollywood, where paparazzi have caught them without makeup and then show them with makeup. They are almost not recognizable as the same woman. So I would argue that makeup is dramatically changing. All a facelift does is, in fact, quite the contrary. It has restored the way you looked earlier.
But that's what I'm saying, is you're restoring a woman who is beautiful as a 50-year-old woman.
Yeah, but she's not as beautiful at 50 as she was at 30 in most cases. I mean, it's just a fact.
But
why shouldn't she? What if you could take a pill? It's not invasive. You take a pill, and some of the sagging on the face just goes away. Would you be against the pill?
I just feel like changing the standard of beauty at a certain age to say that it has to compare to the beauty at, that a woman who's 40 has to.
Well, let me ask you. Well, yes, but I would argue. I think it's almost less compassionate to have your view, less compassionate to women. Let us say that there is a 50-year-old woman and a 35-year-old woman, and they both want this 50-year-old man. Who has a better chance? All things being equal, who has a better chance? Perhaps the 35-year-old based on looks alone. Why should we give that advantage? Why, that woman who has developed her brain and her mind and her abilities, why should she cede that advantage if she can do something about it?
But all other things aren't equal. When you're talking about a 55-year-old woman, you're talking about the wisdom and the life experience.
You're right. You're right. But he's not. If he only wants wisdom,
not equal to what you're going to find in a 35-year-old woman. And I don't see why we can't, as women, we can't own that and say that yes, this.
Because looks, because Cindy,
with the wisdom and the time and the life that I've
you're
lived.
right. They are of tremendous value. I am a big wisdom proponent, as you know, Cindy. However, Cindy, you're 27, and I think that when you're 57, you might feel more like I am speaking now. We'll be back in a moment.
This episode of Timeless Wisdom will continue right after this.
Is losing weight getting harder as you get older? It's not your fault. You're eating better, you're moving more, but your body isn't responding anymore. At PhD Weight Loss, they help people identify what's actually blocking fat loss and help increase your lifespan. If you want to understand why your body isn't cooperating, call PhD Weight Loss now and book your consultation at 864-644-1900. Mention Dennis Prager and you get 2 weeks free in the program, and they'll pay for your food. That's a $1,500 value absolutely free. Call 864-644-1900.
Now, back to more of Dennis Prager's Timeless Wisdom.
Tell me so. I can't feel a thing from my head down to my toes. But why does it always seem
You're listening to the Dennis Prager Show, talking about the issue of natural looks versus enhanced looks, whether it's makeup or dyeing one's hair, and I'm talking about women specifically. This is the male-female hour of the Dennis Prager Show, second hour every Wednesday. And it's very tempting. Look, it's very tempting for anybody to say, you sound noble, you sound great, but it doesn't help anybody to say, it doesn't matter, just grow old. And in some cases, it works. It does, absolutely. I mean, this is something for any given couple to work out on their own. But it's not common for a woman to get the truth from her husband, because talking about her looks is the hardest thing a man can do. How do I look, honey? The answer is great. Men, or at least men believe that. We ought to talk about that, by the way. That would be a good subject. In other words, women can help men in this regard. What should they just lie? And maybe they should, but it would be a very helpful thing for to have that as a subject. Do I look fat in this dress? What is he supposed to say? And then we'll get, what about the guy? But looks in men are not as critical to women as looks in women are to men. It's just, that's the way the world works. It's not fair, but there are many things not fair. It's not fair that men are far more likely to die in war. It's not fair that men commit far more suicide than women. It's not fair that men flunk out more. It's not fair that men are more on drugs. It's not fair that men are tortured far more than women are tortured. It's not fair that men have to make a living and a lot of women don't have to make a living. You can go through it. The question is not what's fair. As one matures, one doesn't ask that question. One asks what works. Whether it's health care or the life of a couple. What works, not what's fair. What's fair is a theoretical, platonic question of some ideal that one constructs in one's brain. And then, because I read this stuff. I read the feminist arguments against this. Oh, women going under the knife just to look younger. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And by the way, can one have too much plastic surgery? Of course one can have too much. One can have too much vitamins. One can have too much of anything on earth. The question is any too much? Not is too much too much. Of course too much is too much. Is any too much? That's the question. Let's go to Birmingham, Michigan. I know Birmingham. Hello, Cassie. Dennis Prager.
Hi, Dennis. I am thrilled to be talking to you. I listen to you all the time.
Thank you.
I had a facelift about a month ago. I am 58 years old, and I didn't do it for my husband. I did it for myself. I am a firm believer that how you feel about yourself, which obviously means how you think you look, affects every relationship you have. And I do believe it says, even in the Bible, that you are to love yourself. And if I love myself, meaning I like the way I look, every relationship in my life is going to be better. And I can tell you that I looked at the way I was looking, at the way I was feeling, and they didn't match up. And I wanted to look more like I felt.
How you said you didn't do it for your husband?
No.
Was he 1% of the decision or 0?
Oh, he supported me in whatever I wanted to do.
Well, is he happy you did it?
Yes.
So he's.
And I don't look. It's not like I turned back the clock 20 years.
No, of course not. Nor should one. Turning back the clock 20 years looks a little foolish. Back in a moment. That's a very important call. I thank you.
This episode of Timeless Wisdom will continue right after this.
Is losing weight getting harder as you get older? It's not your fault. You're eating better, you're moving more, but your body isn't responding anymore. At PhD Weight Loss, they help people identify what's actually blocking fat loss and help increase your lifespan. If you want to understand why your body isn't cooperating, call PhD Weight Loss now and book your consultation at 864-644-1900. Mention Dennis Prager and you get 2 weeks free in the program, and they'll pay for your food. That's a $1,500 value absolutely free. Call 864-644-1900.
Now, back to more of Dennis Prager's Timeless Wisdom.
All righty, everybody. You're listening to the Dennis Prager Show, the male-female hour, and it's a particularly difficult subject. It's such a sensitive issue, and I am aware of that. And frankly, I have a great deal of sympathy for women on this particular issue. But the question isn't sympathy as much as it is, again, what works. And I'm talking about this issue of women's natural looks versus enhanced looks, whether it's, well, the earliest stage is makeup, then there's the dyeing of hair, and then there is a facelift, and then there is, something done to the nose, perhaps, and then there is their breast implants, and God knows what else, and tummy tucks, and tushy tucks, and so on. By the way, this may come as some surprise, given that I have support for moderate use of these things. And that is, I think that a lot of women today in America get breast implants, and it's totally unnecessary. It's almost, keep up with the Joneses in breast size. I mean, I totally understand it when gravity, birth, nursing, or nature has, done a job on your breasts. But where a young woman who's, perfectly fine body just wants them super duper large, I think that's social. That is far more to be socially I don't know, feel that she is fitting in almost than it is any real necessity. But this is the way of life. I have not discussed, and maybe we should save that for another time, because there's another way in which a woman artificially, if you will, enhances her looks, and that's with clothing and clothing in the bedroom. And, I've heard this too. Why would he ask me to put something on? Why doesn't he, just love me the way I am? Which is a very fair question. But again, the reality is that putting on something sexy is putting on something sexy. And if it enhances the relationship between a husband and a wife, and everything has bounds, obviously, then why not do it? I mean, one needs to be bottom line oriented here, and that is what enhances our love and making love with one another. And they are related in most marriages. Okay, let's go to Monterey, California, and Gina. Hi, Gina. Dennis Prager.
Hi, Dennis.
Hi.
Thank you so much for your contribution to the quality of life for all of us.
Thank
really
you for
appreciate
that.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah. This is a subject that's near and dear to my heart, and I'm so glad that you have raised it. I've always thought that it would be useful. I've always wanted to write a book called Aging Beauty. I have always been pretty. I am 59 years old. I have always been pretty. I was beautiful as a young woman. And I think women who have had that experience throughout life have a particularly tough time letting go when they start to age. And I think there's an art to aging gracefully. I started at age 39 to have small procedures here and there according to what was available. But basically, I studied women who were older who did seem to me to be aging gracefully, like Katharine Hepburn. And what it was made up of, it seemed to me, was hair, skin, and weight. And I thought, whatever I can do to enhance my hair, my skin, and my weight, managing my weight. I have made significant investments in my skin, keeping my skin healthy, my hair healthy, and it has worked. I don't look 29. I don't want to look 29.
That's right.
But I do look great for my age. There's not a day that goes by, just like when I was younger. There's not a day that goes by that somebody doesn't tell me that I look great. And I've come. I didn't want to let that go.
Right. No. I hear you, and I like the hair, skin, weight. That's a good guide. That is a good guide. And again, for the woman who hesitates on, let's say, a facelift, and there are facelifts I see where I wish the woman didn't have it. Obviously, I mean they're painful to observe. But when done judiciously, and I would even argue conservatively, my argument is, why let nature win these battles? That's the question that I pose. I have never bought the idea, well, that's natural. So what? Body odor is natural. Bad breath is natural. Flatulating is natural. I don't understand this. The natural argument means nothing to me. Nothing. Let's go to Houston, Texas, and Rhoda. Hi, Rhoda.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you for calling.
I've been listening to you for a while. I love your show.
Great.
But I do have issue as far as the facelifts versus makeup. Makeup is temporary. You can take it off. And it does not actually change a whole look unless you go dramatic, because you still have wrinkles. You can see that through the makeup. You can see everything. Facelifts are so invasive. And then you're also setting a
I
cannot afford it.
Okay. Well, but those are tactical questions, not philosophical opposition.
Correct.
Okay. So then if you can't afford it, then that ends the issue. And as for the other, let us say, as I asked my first caller, if you could take a pill instead of having a knife, then would you?
It all depends on what other things the pill could do to you, I guess. to me.
All
There
right,
are
so
always
your
side effects.
issue then, okay, fair enough. So Rhoda, your issue is health. And that's a very fair question. And by the way, to the extent that one does engage in these types of cosmetic surgeries, I am always toward the conservative side. Absolutely. And not by the way, just as it happens, I guess, I think the earlier done, I'm told, the better it is that you don't want to wait till a very late age to get it done. You do moderate things in their time. Back in a moment.
You say goodbye, and I say hello. Hello, hello. I don't know why you say goodbye, I say hello. Hello, hello. I don't know why you say goodbye, I say hello. I say hi, you say low, you say why, and I say I don't know.
Dennis Prager here, the Male-Female Hour. Male-Female Hour is one of the reasons people subscribe to this program in the thousands. $7 a month is all it costs, and you get every show you want. You download it, you keep it, you share it with a friend. Let your husband hear it. Let your wife hear it. And it also comes with all of the articles that Alan sends to me personally prior to every show with his comments. In my opinion, that's worth well more than the $7 a month alone, but that is a rare compliment to Alan publicly made. I'm looking at Alan, and he has maintained his Sphinx-like demeanor. All right, I've been talking about this question of, well, it's not natural or whatever other objection, and I have great sympathy for the objections, but not in the final analysis. I don't. I have sympathy for where they come from. Life isn't fair given the looks issue, but talking about everything from makeup to facelifts, etc., I see no reason not to. Unless there are compelling reasons not to. But let me take another young caller here. Brian, who's 25 in Philadelphia. Hello, Brian. Dennis Prager.
Hello, Mr. Prager. Thank you for taking my phone call.
Thank you.
I really enjoy your show, and I'm glad that I could get on here.
Good.
I just wanted to talk about the lingerie in the bedroom.
Yes.
And I feel that that is a really great way to spice up a relationship, and I don't have any kind of problem with that. But I do have one little quarrel with it about the, seems like some of my older friends that are in marriages, they like to spice it up by having their wives and girlfriends dress up in, like, cheerleader outfits and schoolgirl outfits.
You mean privately or publicly?
Yes, privately.
And why would you object? Because of their age?
No, well, partly because of the age.
Okay, so let me quickly react to that. The music's coming on, Brian. Brian, at 25, the thought of people past the age of, 50, 60, let alone 70, having spiced up sex seems so bizarre to you. Totally understandably, but thank God you don't know what you're talking about. Thank God. And what couples do in their bedrooms to enhance their marriage and the sex life of their marriage is their business, and if it works, God bless them. This is Dennis Prager.
Tomorrow on Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager.
So there's no way around it. You can't ignore Jew hatred, not because it's not moral to ignore it. It's just in our self-interest to worry about this hatred, the greatest in history.
Join us tomorrow to hear more on Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager. This has been Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager. Visit DennisPrager.com for thousands of hours of Dennis's lectures, courses, and classic radio programs, and to purchase Dennis Prager's Rational Bibles.
Is losing weight getting harder as you get older? It's not your fault. You're eating better, you're moving more, but your body isn't responding anymore. At PhD Weight Loss, they help people identify what's actually blocking fat loss and help increase your lifespan. If you want to understand why your body isn't cooperating, call PhD Weight Loss now and book your consultation at 864-644-1900. Mention Dennis Prager and you get 2 weeks free in the program, and they'll pay for your food. That's a $1,500 value absolutely free. Call 864-644-1900.